So, good evening, guys, and welcome to interview preparation session, which is conducting by 360 Digi TMG. And as of now, first question for the day, guys. So, if you want to predict the probability of death rates from heart diseases based on the three different factors, three risk factors, those are age, gender, and dead cholesterol levels. So, what is the most appropriate algorithm for these kind of cases to be gone? So, if you and the options are logistic regression, linear regression, k-means clustering, and appropriate. So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, so for those kind of questions like or those kind of algorithms, the best option to choose is logistic regression. So as we jump into the next one, so after studying the behavior of population, you have identified four specific individual types which are valuable to your studies. So and you will like to find all users who are most similar to each individual type. So which algorithm is the most appropriate for these kind of studies? And the options are k-means clustering, linear clustering, linear regression, association rules, and decision tree. So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah, so as we look into this, the best algorithm for this kind of studies are, so as we're looking for grouping people together, the specifically by four different similarities. So it indicates the value of K. So therefore K means clustering. Option A is one of the most appropriate algorithm for those kind of studies. So as we look into this, suppose you have been run the association rules algorithm on your dataset, and two rules like banana and apple, which is equal to grape, and apple and orange is equal to grape. So have even found to be relevant. Which, if these both statements are relevant, which else must be true? And these were the four options which have been mentioned over here. So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, in this case, grape apple must be of frequent item. So as we jump into the next question, your organization has a website where visitors randomly receive one or two coupons. So it is also possible that visitors to the websites will not receive a coupon. You have been asked to determine if offering a coupon to website visitors has an impact on their purchase decision, like the amount of purchases they do in the online, does that prefers to the vouchers which they are getting. So for this kind of analysis, which analysis must be fine? And the options are one way ANOVA, k-means clustering, association rules, and students t-test. So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, and the option is the answer is A, one-way ANOVA model. So this suits for these kind of algorithms. So as we jump into the next one, what are the feature vectors? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, so a feature vector is an n-dimensional vector of the numerical features that represents an object. So it basically represents the vectors which are being represented in the form of object. So in this machine learning, the feature vectors which are used to represent either it might be a numeric or it might be a symbolic characters of an object in a mathematical way. So which is easy to analyze those kind of process. So as we go with the next one, what is root cause analysis? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, so this is a kind of analysis which is initially developed to analyze the industrial accidents, but it's now widely used in other areas, not only in those, but also in some other areas. So it is a problem solving technique used for isolating the root causes of faults or problems. So a factor is called a root cause if it is deduction from the problem fault sequence where it averts the final undesirable event from recurring part. So we do have all this root causing part, the deduction part, and all the sequence part, right? So in that way, we can not only use it in analyzing in the industrial part, but also in some other cases. So as we go with the next one, what is logistic regression? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. So as we look into this, logistic regression. So it is also known as logic model. So what is this? This is a technique which is used to forecast the binary outcomes from a linear combination or even the predicted values. So by using this binary outcomes, we'll just try to predict those predicted values by using this logistic regression algorithm. So as we go with the next one, what are recommender systems? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as you look into this, what are the recommender systems? So these recommender systems are somewhat subclasses of information. So the filtering systems, which are meant to predict the preferences or ratings that are used that the users would give to a product. So as we go with the next one, explain cross validation technique. So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a So as we look into this, this cross validation is a validation technique for evaluating how the outcomes of an statistical analysis will generalize to an independent data. So it is mainly used in backgrounds where the object it is forecasted and one wants to estimate how accurate a model will accomplish its action. So the goal of this cross-validation technique is in terms of data set phase to rest the model in the training phase and to limit problems like overfitting and gaining insights into the and how the model will generalize to an independent data set. So that's how it works. So as we jump into the next question, what is collaborative filtering? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. So as we look into this, the recommendation systems they use this filtering process to find the patterns and in information by collaborative perspectives, the numerous data sources and several agents. So as we go with the next question, do gradient descent method always converge to similar points? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and So as we look into this, they they do not, because in some cases they reach a local minima or a local optima point. So you would not reach the global optima point. So this is governed by the data and the starting conditions which we are need to be mentioned or processed over there. So as we go with the next part, what is the goal of A by B testing? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, so this is an statistical hypothesis testing for randomized experiments with two variables, only for two variables, A and B. So the object of A by B testing is to detect any changes to a web page to maximize or increase the outcome of a strategy. So that for in that case, you only use this A by B testing only for two different variables. So as we go with the next question, what are the drawbacks of a linear model? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, so the assumption of linearity of the errors, it can't be used for count outcomes or binary outcomes, and they are overfitting problems. This is which can't be solved. So the major drawback of this linear model is overfitting. So this is the only drawback. This is the main problem, main drawback in this linear model, which can't be solved. So as we go with the next one, what is the law of large numbers? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, what is the law of these large numbers? So this is a theorem. So it is a theorem which describes the result of performing the same experiment very frequently. So this theorem forms the basics of frequency style thinking. So it states that the sample mean, sample variance, the mean variance, and the standard deviations converge to what they have been trying to estimate it. So that's the law of large numbers. So as we go into the next question, what are confounding variables? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, so these are some kind of variables in a statistical model that correlates directly or inversely with both the independent and dependent variables. So it estimates the fails to account for a confounding factor. So as we go with the next one, what is star schema? So if anyone has an idea on it, just ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, so it is an traditional database scheme with a central table. So the satellite tables maps IDs to physical names or the descriptions which we have been connected to the those kind of facts using the ID fields. So these tables are known as lookup tables and are principally used in real-time applications. So as they save a lot of memory. sometimes this star schema involves several layers of summarizations to recover information very faster. So as we go with the next question, what are eigenvalues and eigenvectors? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, the eigenvalues are the directions. They were just directions along with a particular linear transformation, which acts as a flipping, compression, or stretch. So as we go with the eigenvectors, they have been understanding some linear transformations. So in this data analysis part, we usually calculate the eigenvectors for a correlation or covariance. So that's how it's used. So as we go into the next question, why is resampling done? So what were the parameters to go with the resampling part? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, so resampling is done in different cases, like while estimating the accuracies of some sample statistics, or by using the subset of accessing data, or from drawing the randomly with the replacement from a set of data points. So substituting these labels on different data points were performing significant tests. So validating models by using this random subset like bootstrapping and cross validation techniques. So these were being used for those kind of processes. So as we go into the next one, what is selection bias? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, what is the selection bias? So this selection bias, it is nothing but an problem situation in which errors are introduced due to some non-random population sample. in that cases, we might use this selection bias part. So as we go with the next question, what are the type of biases that are occur during the sampling? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, what the type of biases occurs in sampling? But there are three types of bias which we go across in this sample. Those are selection bias, under coverage bias, and survivorship bias. So yeah, that's it for the day, guys. Thanks for joining the session, and we'll meet you in the next session. Till then, have a great day.